Brian, what was the reaction of the team in beating Spain in the quarterfinals?
You know, this is the fourth straight Olympics that they have beaten Spain. It's the earliest they've ever played them, and it's the first game that frankly hasn't come down to the last few minutes. So this Spanish team was older, and they gave the U.S. an issue in the first half, but ultimately the U.S. just has too much talent. It is a little bit worrisome that the Americans can't put together a full 40-minute game, but considering they haven't been together that long, the fact that they are putting together dominating runs has been good enough. And their margin for error, Kevin, is Kevin Durant, that is, because when they're struggling and they need a basket, he delivers it. When in Rio 4 years, or I guess 5 years ago now, he was maybe as good as anybody's ever been in the Olympics. He hasn't quite been that good here, but boy, has he been great, and he's been the difference maker.
I mean, in that second half, he was unguardable, no matter who you throw out there, and that's a good sign for the United States. And just over 3 weeks ago, the Americans and the Aussies, they faced off in a pre-Olympic exhibition out in Vegas. You were there. It wasn't a shining moment for the U.S. team. Patty Mills scored 10 of his 22 points in the fourth quarter. The U.S. squad didn't score a field goal for the final 4:34 on their way to an 8-point loss. We even heard a smattering of boos as they left the court in Vegas. So, Brian, how big of a challenge will Australia be for the U.S. in the semifinals here?
Kevin, this is the biggest game in Australian basketball history. They have reached the semifinals of major events 4 times, lost 4 times, have 4 fourth-place finishes. They've been building to this. Not only did they beat the Americans a couple of weeks ago, they beat them in an exhibition 2 years ago. These guys are not going to be scared. They had 22 baskets in the paint in a 40-minute game against the Americans in Las Vegas. So look for them to attack the interior and look for them to be totally jacked for this game. The last couple games against the Czechs and then yesterday against the Spanish, the Americans were a little lethargic coming out. That is not going to be acceptable against the Australians. They got to play for 40 minutes, and this is going to be a war. And it's going to be really enjoyable to watch. Maybe one of the toughest games the U.S. has seen in the Olympics in the last 4 or 5 Olympics.
Yeah, the Aussies like to play defense. This team cannot afford to shoot 38% in the first half like they did against the Spanish team. Wendy, good insight live from Tokyo with the very latest on the United States basketball team. Tony?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.